Hello everybody, how you guys doing? Welcome in, JD Hetzer, welcome. How you doing, man? What is this epiphany you need to discuss? What is going on? Oh, there we go, wall of text. It was announced that 40K would be delayed. No, that's incorrect. For game quality of life issues. GW then Legends a whole bunch of units, shown in straight footage. No. So it was Dawn of War 4 that was delayed. I was supposed to release like a month from now, like September. It was like September 17th or something. And they pushed it back to December 3rd. Hey, Burrito Mussolini, welcome in. Yeah, so Dawn of War 4, from the units, they have confirmed unit rosters also for the 4 factions, kind of like 8, I guess, sub-factions that are out, and that none of all of those are still good. Yeah. Total War had to address that. I doubt it. I don't think any of the units they've showed in Total War are stuff that have been legend. Maybe the orcs. I know like Ludas or something, or was it Flash Gits? I don't remember. There may have been a unit or 2 from orcs, but they're going to be in the game. They're not going to remove stuff just because it's in legends. It's still in the game. Oh, we got focus in. Let's. Yeah. Total War did get a confirmation that that it's being released in 2027. So they have games about settings in itself that's basically legends. Yeah. Teach me for trying to be up on that. It's okay. Hey, JD, if you're interested in Total War Warhammer, we're going to talk about that all day today because that's what I want to do. But also there's a ton of info that came out today, and I just kind of want to spend the whole day talking about it. But while we do that, I even know there are different games. Yeah. To be fair to Dawn of War, so I'm a huge fan of like the Dawn of War setting. Like the first 2 games were incredible. I'm excited for number 4. Total War has been like my favorite game series ever. Like since I was a kid, for like 26 years, I have been into Total War games. So I'm really hyped for that. I'm not quite as hyped for Dawn of War. I will probably get it. I'll probably get it, but and play it. No, I'll probably have fun with it. But Dawn of War definitely needed the extra couple months. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, they are somewhat similar, and yeah, like they kind of got announced about the same time, and their release is in like a similar time frame, and they're kind of at a similar stage of previews too, which is crazy for Dawn of War. But yeah, what's going on? Zen, Bean the White, Jaded Valkyrie, welcome guys, welcome. There's so much Total War info that's come out today, and there's still a live stream going on with the developers that are talking about 40K, and they've been speaking all kinds of craziness. So yeah. There's a convention called Gamescom going on this week, and I believe it's in Germany. And there are creators that have kind of gotten their hands on either they're at Gamescom and they play it, or Creative Assembly let them like basically port into a Creative Assembly PC and play from home. Yeah, Germany. Yeah, okay. And people got to play essentially like 3 little demos of the game, and do some chapter creation for the Space Marines. Which, if you watch a video on it, it's extremely bare bones, and the developers have said that this is just a super basic, like it's so complex. The customization on your faction is so complex, and what they had to do for the demo, they're giving people half an hour to play at Gamescom. And before they were timing people, they gave it to some creators, and they were kind of watching them play the game and stuff, and they found that creators were spending 40-45 minutes in just the customizer, and they didn't want people doing that, so they knocked it down to like 3 colors and some names. But it's crazy stuff like islands color, helmet color, trim color, customizable symbols, customizable chapter name, character names, yeah, like chapter master name, individual unit customization. So like a sergeant for a unit, you can give him a different helmet color, and like different weapons. So many things for customization. Like I might just definitely prefer. Yeah, you play whatever. Yeah. They have like they have a bunch of chapters already included as far as symbols and color schemes go. In the future, they'll add more options for them as far as like gameplay. But you do actually choose gameplay preferences for your like fighting styles and stuff for your chapter as well. So there is so much customization. Yeah, I feel like I would just take a whole stream just to make a Space Marine chapter, and oh hey, this intercessor sergeant has this stuff, and his helmet is this color for this reason, and just all kinds of craziness like that. And they said that customization is across every faction. It's not just Space Marines. Is there Lego people? Oh no. Oh, Lego Skylines? Wait, is there actually Lego Skylines? This visor gold. Yeah, we're having Sergeant Breadstick. Yep. So, something that's funny, they were showing off in the live stream that they just had. Or that's still going on, I think. OSHA Orcs. Yeah, you can make your OSHA Orcs. Yeah. They have like every Citadel color as a color in this game. So they have, it's not like Space Marine 2 where you have to buy a bunch of DLC to unlock colors. This is just a ton of colors already in the game. But the way you name your chapter, they said for various reasons, you can't just type in a name for your chapter. You have to select from preset words. And there's combinations. You can do short, medium, or long name for Space Marine chapters. But the way that the way you choose, the guy was doing his example. He was showing off the things. One of the prefix words, like the first words, is space. And you can also have Marines as your last words. So you can have the Space Marine chapter called Space Marines, which is hilarious. I think that's super funny. They said there's something like 17,000 combinations of chapter names. If you do a long name, it adds a middle word like of. You like Sons of Malice or something. You can do crazy stuff like that. Yeah, the customization looks insane. It looks absolutely insane. Yeah. Also, what's up, Mydro? Space of Marines. Yeah, you can do that. You can do Space of Marines. Yeah. You can have a Space Marine chapter just called Marines also. Or just Space. Another thing that's really crazy is as you can actually play like a lore accurate Luther Harken. Oh my goodness. Luft Huron. Yeah, that's what it is. The Astral Claws. You can do like an Astral Claws style of playing. The Gym Marines. Yeah. There are more combinations than there are chapters. Yeah, there you go. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. So one of the ways Space Marines play in like a campaign map, you go to a planet and you choose what to build on the planet and everything, but you can do things that essentially like there's this like competing bar of stats for Space Marines. And no, I don't think they have a catalog of spoken words. I don't think that's a thing. No. But you have something called Renown, and then you have Suspicion. I think those are the two sides of it. When you do things like you win a battle, and you basically like give the territory that you win to like the planetary governor, you win Renown. You get like glory for doing that stuff, right? And the Imperials love you, and like everything's good, everybody's like on your side, but you can claim territory and keep it. So you can conquer a world and say this world is mine, or a region, or like a city, and you can start putting down like fortress monasteries all over the place to start conquering. You can force a planet to start giving you a portion of the Imperial tithe, which is like the biggest like no for a Space Marine, right? But that raises a stat called Suspicion, and when you hit certain thresholds, you actually end up becoming a renegade chapter. So you can literally play this game from launch as a renegade chapter. Which is, that's so cool. It is so cool. Yeah, there's so many cool things like that in this game they were showing off. And that's just like the campaign stuff looks really good. You can have your own Iron... Yeah, and you can actually... Yeah, you can make the Iron Warriors. I did see they're both Iron and Warriors as options. Yeah, there's Thousand Suns. You can make a chapter called the Thousand Suns. And again, this is before we even get into like Chaos Marines and stuff. Okay, I think that's good. We're doing the Mark IV Marines today. I'm painting some Thousand Suns today. The Thousand Angels, you can do that. Yep. You can do the Thousand Marines. The Thousand Marines is a good one. Yeah, I guarantee there's a way for your chapter to fall to Chaos. Probably not from launch, but I imagine once Chaos gets going. And something to remember, though, is like this game has like 10 to 15 years of support that's going to be behind it. So things that people like dream of, yeah, like falling to Chaos, that is an absolute like priority for people, and like not even like a vocal minority. Like that's just something that's too cool for them to not put in the game. The Thousand Marines, the Space Suns. The Iron Marines, yeah. The Thousand Wolves, that's the ultimate heresy. We're gonna make that chapter. We're gonna do it. Space Warriors probably be a thing. Yeah, Space Warriors. How about, man, can you do the Iron Fists or the Imperial Hands? The Imperial Hands. Yeah, Thunder Warriors would be a good one. Yeah, that's a really good one. Gameplay for the orcs, aside from the AI playing as the orcs, no. There's an interview I linked on the Discord. They talk very briefly about the orc like play style and how it differs from the other factions. They talk about the 4 factions and how they differ. So like Space Marines are very surgical. You can't recruit troops on planets as Space Marines, so you can't replenish troops from like the planets. You'll have a fleet in orbit unless it gets like knocked out of orbit or whatever, or like destroyed, but you have to recruit from your fleet or replenish from your fleet. So you can't just go to a local like town and say like give me your people and shove globules into them and then just make them, you know, Psycho Warriors or whatever. So the Marines are very like surgical. They like take out elements. They move quick. You got to be quick, or you just get ground down. The orcs are like the opposite. You throw an army at the Space Marines, you wound a bunch of soldiers, and then you just like keep hitting them. And the battles they showed, the biggest battle I saw, it was like 130 Space Marines made up a full army, and there were over 2,000 orcs. And the Space Marines cleaned house, which the player was playing as Space Marines, so you know that's that. But I have more orcs than you have bullets. Yeah, it's a viable way to play orcs in this game. Yeah. Man, it looks so good. Yeah. I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Where's the sergeant? Where's my old unit sergeant here? I had a dude specifically, right? Did I do I? Maybe I didn't make a sergeant. There's no way I didn't make a sergeant. I remember making a sergeant. There he is. Okay, all I did, I just gave him the little terriges, or whatever, little dangly bits. We're gonna paint him because he's going to have a different shoulder pad. Helps them stand out. Some point DLC that adds tech tree paths. What are you talking about? Oh, just like recruiting from a planet. I bet if you build like a fortress monastery on a planet or something, you can recruit from the planet. But they did say the tech trees are massive. They were joking about the Nagash tech tree from the Total War Warhammer, the Lords of the End Times DLC coming. And they said when you see that and people were freaking out, they said just wait till you see the Orc tech tree. Yeah, yeah. Orc tech tree is absurd apparently. So they showed a librarian. Is the guard going to be in the game? Yeah, guards at launch. Yeah. Guard can recruit local militia. One thing Space Marines can do, they said for like wars of attrition and stuff, Space Marines, if they're on good terms with the planetary governor, I think if you're like Renegade, I don't think this will be so much a thing, but you can actually kind of maybe force or request guard armies and units join your army and fight alongside the guard, and they'll move with you, like their armies will stick with you and like follow you around, so you will literally be using Astra Militarum assets to like bulk out your numbers and stuff. Let's see, we need about super heavies. If they graze, I don't take a stat. Yeah, a glancing hit. You don't take status. You just take one damage. That's all. You don't take a penetrating hit. It's just one damage instead of a glancing hit. It's really good because people can't shut down. Like they can't just stop your super heavy from shooting. Yeah. Yeah, what you guys up to today? Cerberus counter to Leman Russ spam. Yeah, Cerberus is pretty good. The thing you're gonna run into with the Cerberus, it does massive damage. Like if you hit a Leman Russ, you're almost guaranteed to just like kill it outright. The problem is it has overload and it will like destroy itself sometimes. So just be ready to take damage on your own tank, because it will happen. I have a Typhon siege tank, and I used it maybe once in second edition, and it was okay, but it was a cool tank. I like the look of the Typhon a little better, but the Typhon does serious work in third edition. It can almost not hit with a 5-inch template when it's shooting at something like a Russ, and it's a 6 damage large blast. Like you're gonna yeah, I think it's strength 12 also, so you need like a 3 to pin. It's crazy. The Cerberus used to be way more insane. Adeptus Drunkenness, welcome in. Orcs don't have boring, normal, tank-shaped tank. They used to, Bean. They used to. They used to have something called looted tank. And it was essentially, like, you had to make your own model, but it was essentially a Leman Russ that you would loot. But you could loot anything, and you could customize the guns that were on it and stuff. And people would take the craziest stuff and make looted tanks. But, yeah, orcs don't have that anymore. Which is a big old disappointment. Cerberus strength 10. Yeah, Cerberus doesn't compete with the Typhon anymore. Typhon is where it's at. Cerberus has got the range. That's what's good for it. It's just like 2 shots or something, isn't it? Is it 3 shots? Yeah, you're almost, is it Overload 1 or 2? It's Overload 2, isn't it? Or is it 1? I don't know. I've never played a Cerberus. It's Overload 1. Okay, so you're like 50-50 whether you hit yourself with that. And your odds of destroying a tank, what you hit with 2, you'll pin with 1. Yeah, but you're statistically going to blow up a tank. Like a medium-sized tank every time you shoot it, provided they don't have cover or pop smoke or anything. It's the orcest thing ever. Why is that gone? I know. Yeah, because they don't. GW doesn't do custom models anymore. Not with 40k. They don't want people making their own stuff. Yeah, it used to be like the orcs MO, like making all your models and doing wacky stuff like that. Yeah, the deodorant stick grav tank, yeah. That was the land speeder too, right? Wasn't that like the original land speeder? Was a deodorant stick? Deodorant case or whatever. What? Tim Curry died? No way. No. I saw Dolly Parton yesterday. Oh, he did. Yeah, also aged 80. Wow. Things come in threes. Is there another 80-year-old that's going to pass away? This is the sacrifice that we need here. To escape the one place not corrupted by capitalism. Yeah. The fact you can take a toy and orcify it up was amazing. It was a person who had not a lot of money. Yeah, Fox. That's true. It was such a great way to like be creative and be on a budget, right? Okay, this helmet, we're gonna keep that. The silvers. I think this crest, we're gonna make this crest gold. A lot of them are gonna be white. I love this like mohawk looking crest though. forgot how I painted Nuncio Voxes. What else is going on with Total War? The way campaigns work, and they talked about how DLC will work. They talked about that a little bit. I think overall positive. So yeah, how campaigns work. Hey Marathon, what's going on? How you doing? How am I not your painting dad? The one and only. Oh, painting, not my dad. Okay, I can read. I can't read. Guys, I'm borderline illiterate. You gotta give me some forgiveness here. A little bit of leeway. The way campaigns work. So if you're familiar with Total War is a very sandbox game. And you have like a big map. You have your faction starting location. You expand out. You know, that's very much Total War formula. This is not going to be that. What this is going to have is it's going to be like super zoomed in, but also not. It's weird. Bit tired, not much. Yeah. Classes started. Oof. Yeah. You got this. You got this, dude. Do your best. Stay focused. Doesn't last forever. So the way campaigns work is, and this will end up tying into like DLC content. So let me get there. But there are like 3 stages of campaign. So the smallest stage is like a system fight. So you fight over a system. And the system fight. Come on, it's Pokemon. You've heard this. Say hi, Mom. Tell Mom I said hello. And I hope she's having a great day. My mom lives far away from me, but she would probably laugh at me too if she would have seen me like listening to people paint minis on the internet. So thanks, dude. Thanks. So what you got? You have, it's like a 3-tier system. First tier, you're fighting over a planetary system. So it might be like 2 or 3 planets. It might be 5 or 6 planets in the system, but there's planets in the system. And you know, you're using your fleet, you're flying all around the system, you're fighting over planets. Each planet is like a whole like campaign map in itself almost. It has like multiple regions. There's planetary governors. There's oh, you work with her, so you live with her. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Hope you're saving money. That's the real benefit there. Hey Rachel, what's up? So you're fighting over these planets, and you get down to a planet, and there's like buildings to build. There's defenses to make. There's things on the map to find. And you're trying to push whatever factions or faction off the map while you're there off that planet, and you're trying to clear the system. All right, you're trying to win over that system. That system that you fight over. Ooh, Jaws numb. Oh, that sucks. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. That system you fight over is part of what's called a Crusade Theater. So the Crusade Theater, there's like a big overarching objective and an overarching enemy, but everything you do in that planetary system affects what happens in the Crusade Theater. So, you build a certain building that gives you like resources. Those resources carry into your Crusade Theater. You gain renown or suspicion for your faction. That carries over into the Crusade Theater. All of that stuff carries over into the Crusade Theater, and you're fighting to like win over that Crusade Theater. So you're doing all that. That's like a big campaign. So you do all that. You have your Crusade Theater, and then if you win the Crusade Theater, you get some like big benefits. There's like some big rewards for winning the Crusade Theater. But they said around 10 Crusade theaters, and all the Crusade theaters kind of lead you to the overarching narrative of this game, which is Armageddon. So it's all leading you to or toward Armageddon, and everything you do affects your kind of final narrative on Armageddon, like the fight on Armageddon and everything. So that's like the big kind of end game is Armageddon. Now, with it just being Armageddon, that seems kind of small for a Total War game. Like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go and we're just gonna fight this one war. Like, Armageddon's a big deal. You know, it's GW's big current narrative and everything. Armageddon the planet. Yep, Armageddon the planet is where it's leading you to. So, like, the war for Armageddon. Now, what they plan on doing, so that's the narrative, and that's, you know, hundreds of hours worth of stuff. I don't know how many hours it takes you to get from one to the other, but all of those affect the other. So, you know, you build resources on a planet, it affects your crusade affects the overarching narrative and like the other crusades. So I think you're thinking of Apocalypse, and that's in X-Men. That's what I'm thinking of, at least. You're worried it'll be too much? It's going to be a lot, yeah. I think the developers have learned a lot from developing like Total War Warhammer. This game's not going to be perfect at launch. You know, there's going to be issues and bugs and features features that people don't like. But I think giving feedback, you know, letting developers know what you do and you don't like goes a long way into helping them improve the game, because they're going to be working on this game for the next like 15 years. Yeah, Total War really isn't ever perfect at launch. They're big games, you know? So with that big narrative, the big Armageddon narrative, that ties into content like DLC. Maybe free stuff, but they said, you know, like additional content. So there's only going to be one Total War Warhammer 40k game. There's not going to be a second. There's not like a sequel game. There's not a trilogy of games. There's none of that. So the way they're going to add content, you know, it's all going to be DLC. It's not going to be like Total War Warhammer. Multiple games stuck together, really? Yeah, especially factions operate. Yep. Yeah, Total War Warhammer is such a huge game. Don't get me started on Total War Horus Heresy. I could go into a rant about that for a long time, but get a proportion. Yeah. Right, Bean. Yeah. It could. This is a golden goose for this company. They're going to put effort into it. This isn't a game they're going to release and it just flops and they drop it. Yeah, it'll probably never be perfect, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a huge game. It's a massive game. So, with DLC... Hey, Sir Stroming Fish, how you doing? With the DLC, what they said they're going to do with new content. They didn't specifically say DLC, but DLC is obviously going to be part of this. They said, you know, they're going to be releasing like new factions, right? We're going to get all the 40k factions. We're going to get like expanded factions. So maybe there's units in the Space Marine roster that you didn't see that you want to see that'll end up coming to the game. There's going to be sub factions. So Black Templars will officially get, you know, their specific units and their play style and some of the named characters and stuff like that. So there'll be like Black Templars that show up, Salamanders, Blood Angels. They did say there are 2 Space Marine factions at launch. There's 2 sub factions for every faction. So Imperial Guard will have Cadians and they'll have someone else, and it's probably going to be Krieg, but we'll see. We'll see who they do as their someone else. But part of the content that they're releasing. No, Gene Stealers will be their own faction. Yeah, Gene Stealer cults are unique enough to be their own faction. They said part of the content release is releasing new narratives. So the narrative at launch is Armageddon, and it's focused around Armageddon. Kodiak, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. So it all kind of leads up to Armageddon. But then in the future they'll have more narratives. So maybe they'll do, like, Chaos comes out, maybe they'll do like a a big narrative that leads to, I don't know what the big Chaos thing going on right now is, but whatever that is, they'll have Tyranid, like High Fleet Leviathan attacking a planet, and the narrative that comes with the Tyranids might be, fighting over a particular planet or a system that is being attacked by Tyranids. Armageddon's the big orc thing right now. It was the Chaos thing for a minute, and then it's back to an orc thing. Yeah, I mean, there's groups from all kinds of stuff on Armageddon right now, but right now, I'm sure Chaos will show up on Armageddon, but I think the big focus is with the orcs and Gazkul. I think you said Gazkul and Nazdreg are the big factions to start for orcs. But yeah, so they'll have new narratives. So instead of Armageddon, you'll be fighting a different narrative for something else. And I'm sure they will expand and change and, meld all of those things together. But, you'll have, like, again, you have a narrative involving Tyranids in some big war, maybe against High Fleet Leviathan. But you'll have that same, like, where you'll fight over individual systems, and then that's part of a crusade, and there's multiple crusades that lead up to the narrative, and that's all that for the Tyranid version of that. I think the endgame crisis will be at the end of the campaign. There might be crusade endgame crises, but I don't think it's going to be like per planet or per system. I don't think there will be endgame crises. Crises is the proper term for that. Yeah. It'd be too much. If like every planet you conquer has some big end thing, that'd get really old really quick. When you might spend an hour or two trying to conquer a planet, maybe. Yeah, it might be an hour or two conquering a planet, depending on how long your battles take and everything. It's not going to be like a full Total War campaign on a planet. He said it's like a weekend to do like a system campaign, a system-wide like campaign. That's like a weekend, and it feeds into your crusade. So crusade, it will be multiple planetary fights. And then I think they said 10 crusades involved with Armageddon, and they said you don't have to fight all of them, but you do get bonuses for winning crusades, and they affect the outcome and like how your fight goes on Armageddon. So and I think it was either just between the system fights or between the crusades, the turn timer continues. You don't start back at turn 1. So the army you build up, the character that you level up, and like everything that happens carries over between all of that. So it's not like you conquer a system and then you have to you go start a new system and you have to start with your cool chapter master or whatever back at level 1 with basic stuff and basic troops. Like, you're actually building on top of everything as you go. You're getting new technology. You're saving a Forge world, and that Forge world is grateful, and they start building tech for you that maybe you didn't have before. And then I think that happens between crusades as well, because it's all one interconnected narrative. Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm super hyped.
Every core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Yeah. Orcs have technology. They have stuff. Orcs gotta figure stuff out too. I know orcs do have a mechanic called fightiness. I don't know how it functions, but someone showed it off. Just like that it existed, I guess. We'll get this. Hey, Utini, what's going on? Bankrupt my faction by mass-producing titans. Gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I'm getting this game. Yeah. This game is, yeah, it's definitely like a power fantasy. That's the whole appeal of this game. Okay. I'm about half done with the bronze on these minis. Missing a couple things here. I gotta get the tops of their backpacks. Some of them I don't need to get the tops, but some of them I do. Yeah, I am so hyped for this game. I actually went out. I created a new YouTube channel that I plan on making videos and stuff for exclusively like Total War games. And if anyone can find that channel, kudos to you. And good luck. I'll definitely share it with you guys soon. You know, it's linked. It'll be linked with all my other stuff, and I'll let you guys know when I'm releasing stuff for it. But the autistic dad. Oh, I love Mark IV Space Marine armor. It's so cool. Finish up some Khandish Horsemen. Oh, nice. Nice. Do you have the actual, like, medals? Okay, next. Maybe Hera. Mark III Supremacy, no bias. Well, I'm going to be painting some Mark III soon. Mark III is the one I've painted the fewest minis for, but I don't mind it. It is my least favorite mark of armor. But, you know, that's like saying my least favorite ice cream flavor. Like, it's going to be good no matter what, but... I'm so excited for Mark V. Something you are able to do. Mark V is only a helmet? Kind of, yeah. I hope they release a Mark V set and with just like a bunch of studded body pieces. But what you can do is you can actually combine a lot of the pieces from these tactical boxes. And I know someone, it may have been, who was it? Estrella was talking about he was going to do that. He was going to buy like a tactical box of each mark that's out, and then you know, you have the torso base, but then you mix the arms, the shoulders, the backpack, and the heads, and the bolters and stuff. You mix all that stuff up because they're all compatible with each other, and you end up with like Mark V basically, without all the studded pieces. You would have bought the medals. Okay, that's fair. Recasts, yeah. That's all good. I remember when the Cond minis came out. I thought they looked so cool. And they were like such a unique playstyle. They had chariots, which was like a new thing. I don't think I have the supplement from when they first came out, but I definitely have the White Dwarf issues. Just getting their base colors on these Mark IV Marines here. Gold, silver, dark gray, and a light gray. Or I guess it's bronze, silver, dark neutral gray, and bright neutral gray are my 4 colors I need to put on these minis. That's sad. Well, Space Marine 40k news. Yeah, it did invalidate a lot of your minis. Yeah. This is super crummy. I saw the Centurions. I specifically was like, oh, do they have Centurions? Yep, they had Centurions. I was like, dang. Where's in? But like, you have like your Vindicator and your Whirlwind, right? And yeah. Indicator I bought a month ago for $80. You can use yours in 30k though. Yeah, that's what you should do. Zen repainted Night Lords. You can't do those Centurions, but you can do it with the other tanks. You just got free tanks for your Night Lords, dude. Gladiators, Maborks. No, these are Thousand Suns. Another page to it. Man, I always hated Centurions though. I remember that they came out and they looked miserable. Yeah, they're definitely gonna. They're making a new Rhino and a new Land Raider mini. Yeah, probably slightly bigger. Heresy Centurions? No. The 40k Space Marine Centurions, the like Assault and Devastator Centurions. I never liked those minis. They're very polarizing. And I was on the do not like side. Kind of grown on you? Yeah. That's fair. Man, dislikes the lamest thing ever. Yeah, is totally in the right. Yep. Dark Angel's great in Blood Angels, but 30k Armon's my... Yeah, 30k Armon's a great mini. He's a little dated at this point, but it's a great one. Centurion suits were like a weird step for Space Marines. It didn't make sense lore-wise when they put them in. It just didn't match anything. You know, you had power armor, you had Terminator armor, and the Terminator armor is this ancient relic that was super heavy armored, and they had to train for like years to be able to use it and all this stuff. And then it's just like, oh yeah, you can also just put power armor in a walking suit, and it works fine. And yeah, not a fan. Just firstborn on stilts. Yep, that's all it is. It also seems very anti-Space Marine also, like a mining suit that they're like, wow, this is really good for warfare. That sounds more like a guard thing or like a gene stealer thing. Like Space Marines are like purpose built for warfare, right? Got some armor for your power armor. Yeah. That also came out not too long after the Grey Knights released with the Dread Knight. And everybody's like, what is up with what's up with Space Marines and little baby harnesses? Yep. I will keep my stance at not cool, and that's fine. If you disagree, that's alright. I don't harbor negative feelings, but I'm a grizzled old Warhammer veteran. Oh, the Ironclad Dreadnought came out at the same time, and that was another... All these minis just looked like kids' toys. Yeah, it was bad. It was also when some of the different jets released. The goofy looking... Which I know people love their like little Storm Talon jet and everything, but it's another one that just doesn't... It doesn't have a good aesthetic. Yeah, Zen, you can just turn your Vindicator and Whirlwind into Night Lords, and you're good. I'll paint them blue for you. The seamless transition, and it's free minis. They're gonna be looted, yeah. Like haphazardly paint over them. Yeah, nice. Just a little bit of colors today. That's what we're painting. Lots of tacticals being painted. Tomorrow I might do some more Project Legion stuff. I might paint another Marine. We would be on White Scars at that point, if I follow the order, so... Vindicator cannon, still a casino? No, it's not. No. It's a small blast, but it's strength 12. It's AP 3, so it gets through armor. It has breaching, so it can get through Terminators, and it's 3 damage, but if you're stationary, it goes up to 6 damage, so it can one-shot tanks with a blast weapon, which is good. Yeah, Vindicators are really good. Demolisher cannons in general are really good. Yeah, so if you want an anti-tank piece, the Fellblade, yeah, the Fellblade has a Demolisher cannon. Yeah, that's I mean, yeah, and it's got like similar weapon stats. Yeah, except the Fellblade doesn't need to sit still because it's super heavy. It always counts as stationary when it's shooting. Repainted. Sad to see it go for my Imperial Fist Armory, but yeah. I mean, you could keep it for your fists and just run it anyway whenever you decide to play 40k. It'll get Legends rules, and that's fine. But you know, you can have it live again as a Night Lord too, and actually put it on the table. Right. The damage 6 profile in Heresy is the threshold. Like, that's when an anti-tank weapon goes from good to amazing. And it looks like they realize that, and they put these big weapons have that kind of damage 6. But there's not a lot that has more than that. Damage 6 is normally enough to get whatever job done you need done. Oxford hates that it's just a better Demolisher. Yeah, well, it's a big super heavy tank. Typhon's gun is the same thing. The Typhon has a large blast on it, so it's a bigger boom on the Typhon's gun. Yeah, the regular Demolisher is only 3 inch. It's a small blast. The Typhon I thought was 36-inch range, but the Typhon also can move, and it can move and still fire its gun and get the ordnance because it counts as stationary. So the Typhon is a monster. It's a feels bad mini. Is it 24? That's fine. Move it up a few inches and you're in range of whatever you want to be in range with. I feel like I am getting quizzed today on specific knowledge for Heresy. Yeah, stun one's pretty good though. Nice little bonus. Yeah, I prefer the Typhon over the Cerberus in 3rd edition. And I would rather face a Cerberus. Reaching 5 on the demo. Yeah, yep. Breaching is you go to AP2 if you roll that to wound. The double damage is the ordnance rule, where if you stand still, you double the stat it tells you to double. Yeah, shock is decent, but I am not as scared to face a Cerberus as I would be to face a Typhon. this piece here. Four more with this color. It's not bad. Yeah, Uchini. Yeah, I spent the morning watching stuff, and the developers did a stream. I think it was still going when I went live. I was watching that this morning. Yeah, there's a ton. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, I'm so pumped. I am excited enough that I actually made a separate YouTube channel just for Total War content. That I would like to upload stuff. To keep like video game and streaming separate, or at least Total War. I want to do more regular stuff with playing Total War, but I challenge people to see if they could find my channel because I haven't posted it anywhere yet. Yeah, they could have 48 minutes of footage. I watched a stream earlier from Turin RTS, and he did like an hour and a half stream where he recorded. He's taking about 2 hours of recording. He cut it down into a 48-minute video, and then he did an hour and a half stream where he would play like a bit, like he would play a bit of the video, and then he would talk about. You have to find a link. You post a link from my new channel. I'll tell you if it's right or wrong on YouTube. There's no videos uploaded if that helps anybody. But yeah, that was helpful because he was answering questions and everything from people and talking about like his experience and able to expand on a little more than just showing the gameplay footage. The developer stream that started at 10:30 a.m. Eastern was very informative as well. So now that's slow this week. Yeah, it's all right. That's all right. Yeah, it sucks. Trying to get over being sick. Yeah, that stinks. All right, 3 more. Skull right there. Next batch of tacticals. We'll do Patreon Hangout tonight. I may be a little late. My son's had weird soccer practice rescheduling going on, and we're actually not getting home until 8 p.m. tonight. So between that and like getting settled and and all that stuff, just like doing evening things after we get home, like I don't know if I'll be on right at 8:30. silver next. What do we do next? Silver. Silver might be appropriate next. Two big colors out of the way. I'm really curious to see how Eldar plays in this game. They're kind of in like a weird spot where, you know, the Imperium works together with each other, but you'll end up fighting Guardsmen as Space Marines and Space Marines as Guardsmen, I'm sure, but you know, the Space Marines will be fleet based, move around, you recruit from your fleet, super elite, very durable, like tanky soldiers, but numbers are very low. The battles that we've seen that they've showed off were like 100 Space Marines versus like 2,000 orcs. As like a Space Marine favored fight. So that's, you know, it's very kind of loreful in that way. The Eldar might be really difficult though, just because they're hyper elite, you know, and their numbers are going to be an issue as far as like population numbers and stuff, right? But they don't just conquer planets and build on them. So there's an interview I linked on the Discord where it talked about where they're very much like they hide in the shadows, and sometimes you don't know they're there until they attack. What's that? They might be really difficult to play in battles. One more for bronze. We'll have these 20 dudes, the color on all 20 of them. It's how I paint minis. I do big assembly line. I have a batch of minis and I just want to paint them, get it over with. Let's see, we did one golden mask, one. Okay, we'll do gold crest on this one. White mask. shoulder pads. Top of the backpack. Let's get this portion here. I did actually have painted a couple Mark IVs. I can go grab them real quick. Let's do that. I'm going to grab a couple of my Mark IVs that are painted just so we have a little reference. I'll be right back. Okay, all right. So, I painted up some minis for a command squad. Or I guess they just be Despoiler veterans, but this guy's got a Volkite Serpenta. He's got a Power Maul. Gave a guy a Thunderhammer. Looked cool. Thought a Thunderhammer would be cool. So, yeah, Thunderhammer dude. Lightning Claws. Can't go wrong with Lightning Claws. So that's what we have as a bit of a reference. And just to see, I did some of their knee pads gold. I'm not going to do that, I think, on these minis. I could do it on some of them, but I did gold on this part. Okay. We gotta go back. We gotta go back through them and paint. I wasn't sure about that. I was wondering about that. They don't have belts. Hands are fine. Yeah. Okay. So we do need a bit more gold. Posted current progress on the Cerberus. Yeah, dude, you're flying through minis. Flying through minis. Did you get it primed? Did you assemble it? You assembled that mini really quick. Did. Alright. I'm gonna put a little more bronze down. You primed it this morning. Nice. Very nice. I painted that Iron Warrior the other evening. And man, I really like that mini. It's a really cool color scheme, and it's really simple to paint. The hazard stripes can be a lot, but I feel like either printing like shoulder pads that have the stripes will help with the stripes, or you know, just raw dogging it and figuring it out, just practicing, just brute forcing it until you figure it out. Okay. Yeah. I have had not great luck with Lead Belcher. I don't know if you have this similar thing, but I used to use Lead Belcher spray paint, and every time I would use it, whenever I'd go to brush paint over it, the paint would always be hydrophobic. But I have that issue with a lot of spray paints, and maybe it's like a Monument Hobbies paint thing. It would also be other paints, wouldn't it? It'd be other paints that would have issues. Maybe it's a me problem. Never had that? Okay. Yeah, I think Monument Hobbies tends to be... It's easier for it to turn hydrophobic, I think. Tamiya masking tape. You know, I have used Tamiya masking tape several times, and most of the time I use it, ends up pulling up paint. I did that on drop pods. I masked a couple drop pods to paint for my Thousand Suns. And I masked them with the Tamiya. And yeah, pulling the tape. I painted, I varnished, I gave the varnish plenty of time to dry, and then I masked, and even then it still pulled up paint. Using AK masking? Okay. Well, one of the techniques it was Honeystar actually suggested was like use the tape a little bit before you put it on, so you kind of use up some of the adhesiveness, so it's not doesn't adhere as strong. But that was super genius. And next time I try to mask something, that's what I'll do. I have masked for Hazard Stripes, but it was on a Genestealer called Truck years ago, and I remember spending so much time masking, like a flat dozer blade. It was quite frustrating, but I can also see, like, with some practice and maybe a little, like, a tool that helps you, a little, like, widget tool or something, might help making that easier. Yeah, I was on for, I want to say, less than 24 hours. I remember specifically trying to get the tape off as soon as I could. It was far less than 24 hours. Because I remember I was like, I don't want the tape to settle. I don't want that to be a thing. So, I taped everything and I sprayed it. Maybe it was only a couple hours. Yeah. Fuegan, what's going on, man? How you doing? Been a while, dude. Local game store, and it's 3 minutes away. Walking distance. Oh, cool. That's really cool. Is it a new store or what? Or did you move recently or what? Sounds nice. I wish I had a store 3 minutes away from me. Getting some painting done. Painted more minis this year my whole life combined. Dang. Oh, they just opened in January. Nice. What have you been painting? Exciting. We are painting some Thousand Suns Tacticals, some of the new Mark IVs. I could have had these painted weeks ago, but they've been sitting on the shelf. I've been working on other stuff. But I figured I'd start on them today. Doing the full box of 20. My ultimate goal being having at least 20 tactical marines for every armor mark. I have Mark 2s and Mark 6s. I don't have tacticals for Mark 3. I want to do that. I want to have 20 for each mark, and I want to have 5-man command squad for each mark, so I can mix and match those two, because I think that'd be really cool. So that one is only Mark 3 and Mark 4. So eventually I'll get some more Marines and I'll throw things in there. 100 Necron Warriors. Ooh, dang. Okay, that's a good weekend. 2 Lords, 12 Destroyed. Okay, wow. So you're kind of all over the place painting stuff. Are these different armies of yours that you're painting, or is it someone else's, or what? Just fun things you're picking out. That's a ton of minis, though. Good for you. All yours. Collect them 15 years ago. That's awesome, though. Where did the sudden motivation come from? Just out of other hobbies. Just wanting something to do. No kidding, that is a lot of minis. Game shop. Having somewhere with the right lighting. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fair. So you just walk on over and hang out or whatever? That's really cool. Get anything for the Middle Earth made to Earth? No, I didn't. I have never bought anything from a made to order. Yeah, there's definitely some really cool stuff in that. I like the Galathrim Guard. The older minis. The new ones are terrible looking. The old ones are great looking though. But yeah, some of the classic minis look really good. The dwarf banner is one I'd like to have. I don't own that dwarf banner. I have the other one, but I already have that captain. I don't have the axe and shield captain. So we ever bought one made to order thing? Oh, okay. I was looking at Gundam Assemble stuff, as I saw that has a release date for October. More made to order than not this year. That's fair. I mean, if you're primarily playing Middle Earth, that's kind of the way to get the good Middle Earth stuff, right? That's cool though. Yeah, I was looking at Gundam Assemble, and I think that it might be something I get some basics and play some. I don't have any like skirmish, like true skirmish games. And it was funny, I was watching a couple videos from like Bandai. It's like the Gundam Assemble official channel or whatever. and they were talking about like organized play. There's an organized play guy talking about that stuff, and so I don't know. The game might get pretty sweaty. Who knows? But then they had like a product video. They were talking about like the release on everything and like the release dates and what the future has and all this stuff. And it was interesting. The base set for that game is dirt cheap. Okay, all right. Have a good one, Burrito. Good to see you. Have a great day. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. We finished with the bronze base coat. Now we can do the silver base coat, which we may or may not finish on everything. Let's do this in stages. That's what we'll do. But yeah, the Gundam Assemble seems interesting. I'm curious. It's kind of strange, like the way it works. It goes by like rounds, and there's only like 2 rounds, but each round has like 10 phases basically. The phases move really quick. It's just, you know, there's a Gundam on each phase sometimes, and if it's their turn, they go. Are you doing your patented gold? I'm not sure what patented gold you're talking about. I am doing, but I have changed my gold recently. I'm not doing the liquid gold. That's what you're talking about. I haven't used that in a long time. I had an issue with the liquid gold. I painted a bunch of stuff with it, and then I was like assembling a bunch of minis, and it kind of messed me up. And I just decided to stop with all the, you know, more toxic elements, especially that Tamiya clear red. I don't use that anymore. It was too much. Yeah, I was using the it's Vallejo liquid gold I would use over the Tamiya clear red. Yeah, just paint that right over it. That liquid gold is an incredible color, but it's no good like for your health to be painting that. It's not good to breathe. So I really focused on eliminating the things that are not safe for me to be breathing. Bolter now. You don't know much about paints. Yeah, it was a Vallejo. I only used craft paints and Pearl Crow I bought last year from your co. Okay, yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean, I was using Tamiya stuff anyway, which I stopped using. I think we wait to paint the bolters. It's probably the quickest way to get things done. Bolters will slow us down a lot. I want to get to a good stopping point. Right, jaded, yeah. Yeah, there's one time I was using that Tamiya Clear paint. It was actually when I started on my my Thousand Suns. And if you guys, some of you might remember, the first time I painted my Thousand Suns was actually on a 12-hour stream I did. And yeah, but I had them all prepped, and the red was the thing that really had to be done because it was it had to all be airbrushed. So I airbrushed on my own beforehand, like a week beforehand, and I used the Tamiya Clear Red. But it was an entire 8-hour day. I primed the minis. It was everything. So it was an Age of Darkness box, plus a Rhino, plus a Kratos tank, and a Dreadnought, an extra Dreadnought, and Armon. Yeah, and Armon. Maybe Armon might have been one of my test minis. He may not have been part of that. But so I did all that in a day. I primed all of those minis. I put gold on them, which is the metal color gold, which isn't acrylic. It's really thin acrylic. It was easy to put on. It was fine. And then I did Tamiya Clear Red. And I probably spent at least 4 of those hours just spraying Tamiya Clear Red through my airbrush. And, I had my window open. I had my vent fan on. Was spraying into my vent and all of this stuff. And I remember by the end of it, my room was just a cloud. And I was wearing a respirator and stuff, but my room was a cloud. And I opened the door to my room, like I kept the window open and stuff, but just opening the door, like the entire lower level of my house reeked of that Tamiya Clear Red. And I closed the door, I kept the window open, I did all that stuff, and it was horrible. And I was like, I can't have my family like breathing this. And I kept using that paint for a bit, but I was already like looking for other stuff to change out after that. I have a spray booth. Yeah, I have one. It didn't help. Did not help with all that paint. I got the little booth with the filter and the fans. It's a dual fan. It's got the vent that goes out the back and everything. Like it's that whole setup. Have I tried non-metallic? I've tried it once or twice. It's pretty difficult. But maybe one of these days I'll practice with it. I'm trying to make it a reality. But it is not this day. Not doing bolters yet. Oh, you know what I gotta do? I forgot about this. I gotta get these vents. Are you talking spray shed, like a complete separate, like, little shed outside that I just used to airbrush? Whoops. Because that sounds amazing. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I'll take that, sure. I live in Ohio, so if a tornado doesn't blow it away, it'd be freezing cold or way too hot in that shed, so I'd need temperature control. Call it the dad pad. Do you highlight metallics? Banshee blades and metal, and they look kind of sucky. It depends on what you're going for. A really bright silver on the edges of the blade, like the very, like, it's the sharp edges of the blade, might do the trick, but you also might be, like, you might need, I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to do. Like, these guys have metallic armor. I highlight their red with a white gold color. That you can see it makes it look a little more metallic. The gold I highlight, excuse me. Oh man, I highlight with a really bright gold. The silver I highlight with a really bright silver after a wash. I think metallic, you just have to be like a lot more, go a lot brighter than you would, I think. Painting bolters can get kind of miserable. One nice thing about painting fantasy minis is painting a spear or a sword is so much easier than painting like a gun.
the tower. Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle
This whole thing will be silver. I don't know, I'm skipping over parts here. Gonna work on drywall. Oh, fun. Alright. You have fun with that. Thanks for coming to chill, Fuegan. I'm glad you're doing well. And congrats on all the progress this year. Really exciting. If you want to post some pictures up in the Discord, by all means. Show off some of that work. Alright, 6 down. Point, do an image dump. Alright, have a good one. All the things I need to. Looks like it. Looks like it. Okay. Really happy if I can get these two colors down, or at least this first stage of the silver down. Really nice. This will be a little project for me through the weekend. Continue some of this work. I do want to get a really good test on this other red that I have. The Vallejo Forge Red. Or Forged Red. One of those. A lot more orange, but this turns a little orange with the clear Angron red I put over it. So I don't know. We'll see. Do I just stick with the ruby red, or do I go with the more orange? But I just need to do some testing with it as well. Any tips on snow basing? I really like you can find snow effects. Different companies make different snow effects. I think a lot of them now use like the ground up, I don't know what it is, but it's not, some companies used to use a white static grass. That was just awful in my opinion. But now they use something that has a little bit more of like a snowy quality to it. I use super glue, like a thinner super glue, not a gel. But I just put super glue on the base. I'll dip them in the basing material, and they can sit in there for 20 seconds or so. You pull them out, but you got to put that over like I think the best thing to do with snow basing is you base the mini something interesting, and then you put some snow on the base. You don't completely cover it with snow. Rocks, white. I wouldn't do white trim. Black trim just looks better on everything, honestly. Because I think it's about like framing your model. Yeah, you can do rocks. Like do something underneath the snow. You need like a color underneath it, but yeah, having a couple little like other elements on the base goes a long way. Rock colored trim. Well, okay. So my thought about base rims is that your minis are on a base, right? And you're almost never going to have a board setting that matches what's going on in the base, right? So when you make the base rim a color that's like trying to match your basing, in my opinion, especially with the flared bases that these minis normally have, which these aren't their permanent bases, by the way, these are just filler bases. They'll be popped off. I'll have some textured like toppers and stuff, but you have these rims, right? And when say you're on a grassy board, all right, and you have desert basing, you set this mini on there and it looks like all these little desert dots walking around. It doesn't make, doesn't fit with the theme, right? When you put a black rim on the base, what it does is it kind of frames the mini. It puts everything in context of like, this is a piece on its own base and it's separate from the board. And that black rim, instead of like, you would think that black would make it like stand out, but what it does is it actually removes it from the terrain to where you're not trying to like meld the mini into the terrain in your mind, if that makes sense. So I always do black rims because you're never guaranteed to fight with the minis on the appropriate board. So, and it's funny too because at one point I experimented using clear bases a while ago, like 10 years ago. I was messing around. I got some clear acrylic that were base size and I put some minis on it. And what I realized was the clear acrylic looked really bad as bases. You would think it would look really good because you're like, wow, my minis fit, anything. They end up looking like the terrain. No, it looks like an acrylic base that your mini's on. It's the same with like flight stands. We've all seen or have minis with clear flight stands, right? The flight stands look better when you paint them black. The black disappears easier and is like removed. Your eyes don't look at the black for what it is, but they will see that clear flight stand and it looks like a clear flight stand that's sitting under the mini. I don't know what it is, but keep my minis close enough they vaguely look like a little mobile forest. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah, look like a shadow. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to see things, black is the color you use. Like hide parts and stuff. It's the miniature uncanny valley. It is. It really is. Yeah. The clear pieces. I'm distracted. Painted a Blood Angel for my friend. We're supposed to get snowy bases. I haven't done those in a very long time. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it absorbs the light. That's right. Okay, we're over halfway done with this stage of silver, so I'm going to try to finish this. Do the bolters another time. Need something black, and it's obvious, obviously not something you want to look at. With clear, you're not sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, something about having a clear piece it's just totally distracting. It like draws your eye in. You seeing shadows, ignoring them. Yeah, yeah. So, that is my advice. Black base rims always. And if you're doing a snowy base, find a terrain you like, paint that, and then add snow with it. You know, like around the rocks or whatever, or, you know, not covering the whole. You can put a lot on there, but not covering the whole base. You want to be able to see the interesting things underneath. Gives the snow context, right? Give it a shot. Cool. Cool. Okay, hey Star Laser, what's going on? Working on painting some tactical marines today. Yeah, I am so pumped for Total War right now. Incredibly excited. Right. Yeah, we're just trying to get these colors down. I may have to print some base toppers. I don't know if I have enough. I think I have enough. We'll get there. I just need to start printing base toppers anyway. I think buddy of mine might be requesting some soon, so. I don't care for the chest strap things, but that's probably the only thing I don't like about this armor. But that's also like a classic Mark IV thing, so can't have one without the other. I think tomorrow we're going to do some Project Legion stuff. Gotta have the web gear. Yeah. All that stuff he's carrying on it. For as excited as I am for Total War 40K, the fact that people will, I'm sure, immediately be making Horus Heresy mods has me very hot and bothered. Be really excited to play a Horus Heresy mod for that game. I hope people are able to mod their own narratives too. Because as cool as the Armageddon narrative will be, and I'm sure it'll be a nice long campaign, it might get stale just playing the same narrative over and over, and I think that'd be a cool opportunity for like storytelling from people. We lost 3 Centurions and a Razorback out of the recent removals? Yeah. A couple people have posted their casualties today. It's rough, buddy. Yeah, unfortunately, Star Laser, I can't give you the advice I gave some others, which was move those to 30k, because neither Razorbacks nor those Centurions are part of Horus Heresy. So, you really are SOL, aren't you? Yeah, it still hurts. I would say if you like the minis, Proxy the Razorback is a Rhino. Yeah, that's true. I'd say if you like the minis, hold on to them. Or you can send them to TPD at PO Box 165, Lockbourne, Ohio 43137. And I'll take them off your hands. But if you hold on to them, I bet in the next couple years GW is going to have a 40k-esque game with Mark 7 and tactical squads and everything, and they'll reboot all that stuff. Whether it's a scouring game and they start adding units in or something, but they're going to be doing that eventually. A world with GW not selling tactical squads is, I don't know if that's a world I want to be a part of. And if they made tactical squads in like this scale with this quality and gave them the options and stuff that they could, like, yeah, it'd sell like hotcakes. Yeah, it's weird with no tac squad around. Yeah, you're right. That tac squad carried GW for decades. The tactical squad box for a long time outsold, that one kit outsold the entirety of Warhammer Fantasy. Every single kit in Warhammer Fantasy did not equal the amount of sales or the amount of kits, like number wise, that they sold of tactical squad boxes. That shows you how many of those they really they sold through the years. Alright guys, this is the last one today. I'm probably going to be reading and watching stuff about Total War 40k. So, anybody wants to talk about it, chat in Discord. I did link an interview. It was with a Korean news site. But it's all in English. The interview's in English and everything, but very informative. Very, very informative on the game and everything. You know, like, they talk about, like, customization. They talk about, like, some of the ways the campaign works. They talk about how factions play. They talk about how you can go Renegade as a Space Marine chapter. DLC, they talk about that a little bit. Lots of stuff. So if you feel like reading an article or a Q&A or interview or whatever, I thought that was very informative. Alright. Work on these guys some other time, but in the meantime, we got some colors down. Got these guys going. We'll continue on with the silver when I can, just to paint the bolters. Get the rest of his helmet here. And make sure I got everything else on these minis. And we just basically have bright neutral gray and dark neutral gray, and some colors for the Nuncio Vox, and I think and the Sergeant. And then I think we're kind of in a good place to get washes and start highlights and everything. But as an example, this is a finished mini here. Cool Thunderhammer mini. And, you know, I had some of these Mark IV. I painted these a few weeks ago. It says Power Maul Man Squad guy. Lightning Claw guy. So, just some minis, just showing how I paint some things. But, yeah. We'll continue on with these minis another time. I think tomorrow we're going to do Project Legion. I'll start another, the next Legion Tactical, one of you guys represent. It might be White Scars. Yeah, I'll have to get that prepped. But that is Misfit 23's White Scar. Yeah, and then it's Space Wolves after that. It might be Sunday, Space Wolf Sunday. But you guys have a wonderful afternoon. I will be doing Patreon Hangout tonight. Be a little later, but for Patreon members, we'll be doing Hangout. But otherwise, you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Star Laser, Sir Stroming Fish, Jaded Valkyrie, some of the other guys, Mydra Raja. You guys have a wonderful day, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.